Here, the centuries of loneliness were to end.
Your collection of Leonardo da Vinci masterpieces, Mr. Flint.
They appeared to have been recently painted.
On contemporary canvas with contemporary materials.
Then, age, death, the taste of dust. Do you understand?
You wanted a perfect, ultimate woman. As brilliant, as immortal as yourself. Your mate for all time.
Merkaba master, I charter demons to other worlds, drop devils to plaster, rush them to hell, breathing asthma, place Satan on gurneys next to Hermes, send them off to their journey to Cleopatra. They read those chapters, egos captured, the Leo laughter, neoplasma, run through my veins in this matrix, and my basement became a plaza. And now I'm in the Sky Lounge with negative spirit hackers, build on math and we read the chapters, observe through our windows at the quiet disasters, riots at NASA, marches, gender pride, freedom rights for the masses, till we do away with first and second citizen classes. Religion is backwards, trying to comprehend to the pastor. This gym is like Jasper. Either we all live and strive for the youth to survive, or it all ends with the rapture. Forget waiting on the man, I'm making a plan. And for the ages of false statements, I'm taking a stand. Start an investigation on Satan with a cross in my hand. Make him plead guilty, now face the jury. We're in the courts of I am. If I could just vanish from off the planet, like magic, become caught from granite. Days, mathematics is understanding.
Hey, hey, did you hear? This is the perfect place to disappear. Oh, hey, did you hear? This is the perfect place to disappear.
A billion stories in the naked city. Ghost told me that his best friend needs a kidney. We froze, reminiscing Tiffany in the cold. Open whiskey from the 20s, in the memory. Sympathy, made the angels play a symphony. Said he could've had a scholarship, toured different colleges. Now he's out of it, fading away slowly on dialysis. His name remained anonymous, but here's my acknowledgements. Street legends and hood guards, kingdom fall into a mirage. Ghetto depression sets in, then we place weed and cigars. A child has difficulties concentrating. From where he lives, he sees his promises fading. He sees his pops gone, his mom's is aging. She trying to stay strong for a church congregation. And meanwhile, a kid named Rico was the coke king. A lot of siblings are the dope fiends, hope you scream. A lot of children with broken dreams, homes were clean. The most extreme, you got rich and what you sold to queens. Look what you did to Josephine. And Ebony is unheavenly. The devil's ready with open wings. As Lucifer uses love and his youthful mug. Then his blood on the cobra's fangs.
Hey, hey, did you hear? This is the perfect place to disappear. Did you hear? This is the perfect place to disappear.
Through the mid.
Peace to the family. Welcome to episode 6 of Self Make Self podcast. It's your brother Knowledge Born Allah. Here with our hostess of the mostest, the healer, the teacher, the guide, the inspirer, and today the interrogator herself. You understand what I'm saying? So it becomes an honor and privilege at this time to introduce something to others. The representation for the Black woman this evening and in every evening, the one, the only, Miss Chanel Johnson. Welcome back, ma'am. How you feeling? How are you?
I am doing amazing this evening and would like to give you lots of gratitude and appreciation for allowing me on your platform, for allowing me this space to bring community rhetoric of healing, mental health, interaction, and communication, and for being brave enough Allow the women of your community and being the sole male to answer the questions that we have.
I'll be knowledge diamonds today, okay?
I'll
Paul Mooney
take
used
it.
to do that on Dave Chappelle. And happy birthday, happy 67th birthday to Eddie Murphy today. So it's fitting. It's National Poetry Month, National Comedian Month also. And it just happens to be Eddie Murphy Day today. So
Awesome.
I got jokes. All right. I got jokes. Mm. Shout out to Goddess Rael in the building as well. Jody Southworth and the people who are checking in. So I'm gonna be quiet and be prepared to do my best to answer these questions.
Well, before we get into this, I want to give my disclaimer that
All
I am not a therapist. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a licensed social worker clinician. I'm not a psychologist yet, or a psychologist. Or a psychiatrist. And I'm not here to diagnose, provide therapy, or treat any condition.
I
I
might need
speak from
some after this.
you might. I speak from lived experience, from what I've seen, what I felt, and what I've learned along the way in my own journey and through helping theirs along theirs as well. So today is about creating a space for conversation that has been needed for a long time. And I'm asking questions that Black women often carry in their hearts. And I'm asking them on behalf of women who want understanding, healing, and better conversation with Black men.
Mm.
Knowledge born Allah. Welcome to the conversation.
Glad to be here.
So, this episode here feels necessary. And because I feel like a lot of women have been holding these questions in silence for a long time. So, let's just go there. To build some parameters, these questions that I asked of women did have some parameters. It was asked from a place of understanding, not from the place of being an asshole. We are not here to degrade men, undermine them, and and there's an exercise that I want to do here. Is just we're just here to have a conversation. This is dialogue. We're here and we have the ability to ask questions. So it's not about your opinion. Ask the question so that you can get your answer. And even if you do not like the answer, you ask for it. So please show some grace and some understanding and some coof when you get the answer, because you're gonna hear some things that might not be comfortable and that you don't like, but it does not change the fact that you asked the question. You have to be willing to show up and listen to the answer. So this is not so much for dialogue, because we do need to have understanding before we can actually come together and have that dialogue. So those burning questions that women had, I actually have them. I have two phones here. I got them on my computer. I got the questions. So knowledge born Allah, let's do it. Our first question.
Us never fall. My kid, da, da.
We're going to come from the perspective, the very first one is emotional distance. Why do some Black men seem emotionally present, but still hard to reach?
We're going right into the weeds.
Straight in.
Why do some Black men feel? What was the second part of the question?
Why do they seem emotionally present, but still hard to reach?
Okay. Black men seem emotionally present, but hard to reach based off of how they may have been socialized. If you grew up not thinking that your voice was heard in your household when you were a child, you're going to carry that into adulthood. So if you're repressed in that kind of way, you don't communicate in that kind of way. If your father was there or wasn't there, and if your father didn't express himself except in an authoritative sort of manner, you're going to exert what they would call dominance and the other way. So if you're socialized to fight to get your point across, you're going to fight to get your point across. You're not going to express yourself. You're not going to use your words in your mind. So you might be emotionally present with the woman that you love. Hopefully, you're in a relationship with a black woman. You understand? Uh, she can see you ailing in a way that you can never hide. So if there's a space of vulnerability, black women, that we express that to you, there's always a small chance that when we get into it, whatever vulnerability we shared is weaponized. So closing the gap in the distance in that way, if something is shared with you, there's a level of trust, a level of sacredness that is there, and that's gone if it's misused or mishandled. So as a barrier of protection for us, what I found in that way, that those men that you're talking about seem hard to reach because of those two factors: the inability to properly articulate the emotions that are felt, and then the fear of it being used against them.
Okay. So, for a little further clarification, digging a little bit deeper into that question, when a woman feels that distance, um, what should she understand about that distance and that silence that goes a little bit further? What if she hasn't weaponized that?
Mhm.
Then how does that translate?
Um, if you're looking to connect or close that gap for the space in that moment, how you approach the situation in that regard matters. Um, I've heard some black women saying, "I ain't trying to raise no man. That's mama's job. I ain't his mama." Blah blah blah. That's a mother son relationship aspect right there. That's not the intimate relationship. That's the interpersonal relationship. So if there is a disconnect and a fear in that moment, how to eradicate that fear or close that distance, or seeing that if it's not being weaponized, then it should be understood, right? It should be an approach like, oh, okay, I think something's going on. I just want you to know that I'm here. We can talk about it. We can work through it, whatever the case may be, type of situation. So there is a comfortability with expressing whatever it is that is ailing him in that moment, so that you're receptive to hear it versus uh, you're thinking and you're putting this on yourself and it's being the thing for you versus if it's a thing for him. You know, you can talk about it, you cannot talk about it. I just want to know what I need to do in that moment, so that way it doesn't escalate. You know, oftentimes it escalates because you're feeling something, he's feeling something, y'all might be feeling the same thing, and y'all talk about everything other than what y'all feeling. So the conflict goes, the tug of war goes, the egos go, all of that stuff that's happening versus I'm scared or I don't know what to do. You know, I was in the military for 17 years. And right before combat, the woman I was with at that time, we were getting into it a lot. And I'm like, you afraid about me going to combat, right? She's like, yeah. I'm like, so why didn't you just say it? I didn't know how to say it. You think it's something that's gonna happen to me in war? Yes. So we, instead of us, you know, getting into all of the stuff that's happening where we could actually be on one accord with one another, we're doing everything else in the avoidance space versus actually dealing with the heart of the issue. So if there's an issue, we should have a level of trust to be able to bring that to each other's attention without the person that you say you love fighting you on the issue. If it's an issue, it could just be my imagination. But if it's an issue, then we could come together and figure out the best kind of way to work on that issue.
So when a woman feels that distance, if I'm correct in what you're saying, that's not the time for her to start asking her all types of or asking herself all types of questions about what she's doing wrong or what's wrong or what he's holding back, and just coming to so many conclusions. Just allow him that space and then come back to that later, or is that nuance depending on who the person is?
Yeah, don't feed that energy in yourself, because it works both ways. If there's an issue, if I'm like, baby, you okay? Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, I'm good. I'm always good. No, you're not in that moment. You're not. You're not. So we can, if we could get past some of those presets that we have within ourselves, we won't have the issue of projecting that out to the person that we're with. So we have our own presets. We retreat in our head. So if I'm working through a problem in my head, I'm working through a problem. I'm doing the whole analysis, the cost, the benefit, whatever the case may be, because I have to fix the problem. The problem can't stay. I can't harp on it. I have to fix it. So when I come out of my head, I have a solution to the problem. Now, if I come out of my head and I don't say anything to you, I'm not inviting you in, because I have sight. You have vision. So if I come through and say, okay, this is what I got from my sight in regards to the problem that I'm dealing with, I'm trusting your intuition. I'm trusting your vision. I'm trusting your healing power modality to give me the sight beyond sight, the vision. You see what I'm saying? So if a perfect example was that TV show Rock. I don't know if you ever seen it back in the day. Rock used to come home with an idea, Eleanor, we going to the moon. Eleanor used to look at Rock. She used to listen to Rock. She used to hear him out. And then she'd be like, well, baby, how we gonna? Rock used to tell her, I ain't worked that out yet. He used to be so bent on whatever the idea was. And she saw him happy. He picked trash up on every, you know what I'm saying? So when he came home with an idea, she saw him. She didn't say, I don't know what the hell this dude talking about, and blah, 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 blah. She didn't get on the phone with her friends and start gossiping and clowning him and berating him and disrespecting him. She knew her man. She knew how to handle that man also. And she's like, all right, well, baby, did you think about? Because she was a nurse. She provided bedside manner at that hospital on the night shift. So she knew how to listen to concerns. She knew how to deal with doctor egos, all this other stuff. So she used all of that care for her man. So she would guide him to a way to filter out what was unnecessary and deal with what was great. So she'd be like, baby, what about this? He'd be like, well, I ain't worked that out yet. You understand what I'm saying? I ain't worked that out yet. So they could talk through this idea and reach a consensus based off of what level of love they have from one another. Versus this, he over there, like, I come in the house and I did. And the first thing you do is ask me questions about you ain't even trying to hear me. You start doing that thing. We see more of that versus, this is my love. I'm coming to share this good news with my love. She want to hear it. She's excited for me. Oh, baby, oh, blah, 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 blah. Well, now, Rob, so she's going to do the honey thing, right? Well, baby, did you, all right? So she wants to feel secure about it. So now she can begin to help create division versus not hearing what he's saying and then creating division, like the mathematical term. So
Okay. That kind of covered the second question, which was what do black men need from black women when it comes to communicating, and what needs to be done better in communication between black men and black women.
well, black men have to learn how to communicate properly. We communicate with each other combatively. So we go back and forth about anything. It could be two rocks on the same, like this rock look better than that rock. Now, how you see that? How you gonna say that? Like, we'll do that amongst each other, sports, anything, all kinds of stuff, just whatever the case may be. If you have those sort of associates, right? When you got friends and brothers, you come over there, they're gonna hold you accountable. They're gonna hold you accountable. I grew up with uh, older men in the neighborhood, and they were men to me because I was a kid, and they allowed me to come around them, so I would listen to those men articulate. If you wasn't doing what you were supposed to do, and they found out about it, that there was some physical justice or a tongue lashing that was handed to you because you couldn't be out in the neighborhood cutting up, acting a fool, doing all of this foolishness, and nobody checked you. So there was a check and balance in that regard. So that's one style of communication. But in order for you to know how to communicate with women, you have to ask women. So if you want to know how to communicate with black women, you got to ask black women. Like that scene in Baby Boy with Jody in the dresses. His mama and Monique was like, you have to know a woman's style. You have to know what's in season. You have to know the material. So they're telling him if he's going to go out there to women, he's going to have to know how to talk to women. Oh, this dress, you see this? This is an all-purpose dress. So he was coachable enough to be able to go out there and communicate. He's not going out there like the baby boy. He's going out there like the entrepreneur. So he did that versus Peanut. Peanut was out there. His talent was robbing. So his communication was something different. You were robber. So he had all of the plan in regards to the plot. So when Jody got robbed, he's like, Peanut, I got Jack. He's like, Kim, go get my guns. Right? So he went out there and did that. When he was about to sell that lady that dress, when she asked that final question, he blew up. Because he blows up at home, but he has enough sense to go back and repair. He like, y'all told me I could stay here, gave you all these clothes and the video games. I thought we was a family. You understand what I'm saying? He said all of that. They just looked at him like, whatever. But Peanut made sure that house was safe. Wasn't nobody running up in that house. So he loved Kim, his girl, and her mama. So they had their own communication style, right? So when Jody got into it with his mama and he came outside, Peanut said, Mama got to have a life too. So all these communication styles are circulating and nobody's coming to a head for it. So black men have to learn how to communicate that internal thing that's happening inside of us in a palatable form that the world and black women can pick up on. You have a message for the world, and then you have a message for the women that you with. Because the children are suffering because they're watching this and thinking this is how adults interact. And it might be contrary to the thing that they're telling them. Clean up after yourself. Don't fight your brother and your sister, whatever the case. Share all of these, thou shalt not commandments sort of thing. And they see y'all getting into it every few minutes. Y'all ain't got no conflict resolution or de-escalation skills or nothing like that. Y'all yelling, hollering, screaming, cussing, fussing, throwing stuff, all of this. And they like, that's what we do. You know what I'm saying? So the more we come to grips with our own internal communication and our external communication will become better in regards. Because if I'm fighting within, I'm going to be looking for a fight without. I'm not receptive. I'm closed off. I'm closed minded. I'm looking to be a conquest type of situation, and I'm the man, and this is how it's supposed to go. All of that. We don't really deal with none of that foolishness. We start repeating stuff that is foreign to us as if it's normal to us.
Okay. With that being said, let's swing into what does a man mean? And what do men mean when he says be his peace?
That's a commercial. That's something to sell. Not no man. A black man. I don't know about no other man. I've been black my whole life, thankfully. Peace is the absence of confusion. So, whatever your cultural inclination and nuance is, this is where a lot of your answers come from. So, black people are black as a collective, but that expression culturally is not monolithic. So your culture is supposed to provide you with a lot of these answers. So if you get somebody that comes from another culture and y'all want to get together, you got to work through them conflicts already. So my idea of peace and the woman that I'm with's idea of peace is something totally different based off of how they were socialized and how they see it. So be his peace is a slogan, right? To sell some stuff or and to push an agenda. You can't be his peace. He can be his peace. He can't be your peace. We also can't aggravate one another. We can choose to aggravate. It's a place where we go to aggravate. Like, so be his aggravation? Nah. He's his aggravation and he's his peace. You're your aggravation and your peace because these are choices. So we can attempt to aggravate one another, but it's a choice. If I don't feed into it and you don't feed into it, who am I arguing with? Now I'm mad at myself because I'm really only mad at myself. I ain't really mad at you. I'm mad at myself. So a lot of these things where the breakdown in communication comes from, which is the opposite of peace, which is war. You could be looking for war, talking about you. I'm just trying to deal with this peace. You may have never been in a peaceful relationship or never seen one. So your peace might be chaos, and my peace might actually be peace, solitude. So if we're existing together, we have to know these sort of things. And when we go through our vetting processes, these are certain things that we should be looking at and looking for before we decide we're going to be together with one another. Because your piece might be loud music and my piece might be quiet. And your piece is going to aggravate me. You understand what I'm saying? So, what's your idea of peace? What's your ideal peaceful situation? Then you have to decide if you're willing to provide that or be a part of that if that's not the thing that you do. So, if your ideal aspect or expectation of peace is this, find somebody who can exist in that space the same way. And y'all will have peace. If y'all don't, their peace is all right. I might go cut on this Keisha Cole record and then sing the record real loud and all of that. And they ain't trying to annoy you. They just in their peaceful zone. And you you uh you got your favorite beverage and you in your own world, right? So understanding those aspects. Somebody can't be anything for you if they don't know what that requires.
Okay, then that leads to the next question of what can women do when they want to support a man, but he keeps shutting them out?
Hmm. A black man is like a record, and a black woman is like a CD player. You understand what I'm saying? A record, you got one song on that mofo. That's it. Might get two. Like on the single, it's like, all right, it's just going, it's just that. You flip it over, you get another thing. So you hear that song, and while that song is playing, if you interrupt that song, it's going to skip. It's going to scratch. And being the gods that you are as Black women, being the multitaskers that you are, you can walk, chew gum, be with the children, talk to your homegirl on the phone, cook, all of that at one time. We can take out the trash. We could wash the dishes. We could make sure the car got gas in it. You see what I'm saying? So if you're trying to support in a way and I'm taking out the trash, you like, baby, you like, I'm taking out the trash. Let that man take out the trash and come back, because he's programmed to do one thing at a time. He's not programmed to do 27 things at a time. If he is, you got a special dude. You understand what I'm saying? Hold on then. But most of the Black men that I know and the Black man that I am got one thing, next thing, next thing, next thing, next thing. That's why the honeydew list was invented. All right, I got the stuff done on the list. I'm good to go. You understand what I'm saying? A loaf of bread, a container of milk, and a stick of butter. You understand? Like, I got these tasks. And once I do each task, I could deal with the next. I could deal with the next. I could deal with the next. So understanding how those things work. And on the other side, when we come into a situation and we need something done, we got to assess the situation before we come in. And if we can take one of those things away each time, all right, let me get the kids. All right, let me wash the dishes. All right, let me clean up the house a little bit. And I'm taking things away from you. You don't got to focus on 7 things. You can be okay with me focusing on the one thing and you doing with the 6 things. And by the time we at the end of everything that needs to be done, there's a partnership that's connected based off of I'm striving to eliminate things. Oftentimes, when a Black man starts doing that, you like, what you doing? what you doing? I got it. You're not in a I got it situation. You're in a we got it situation. So if you used to doing everything by yourself, tell that man up front, look, I'm used to doing these things a certain kind of way and blah, 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 blah. And if he's smart or wise, he'll ask you, how can I support you in those endeavors? What are some of the things that I can do? How can I be integrated into this situation? So when you see me, know that I'm striving to help you, not be another thing you got to worry about, and vice versa. So meeting each other in that kind of way, understanding how those things work, I think yield better results in that.
Okay. That was the warm up.
All right.
So we're going to move on, and I'm going to give you a little bit of context before I ask the question. So many of us Black women, even the back in the days Black women, have or had to endure pain from Black men first before the right him is shaped and molded. Yes, some stick around, some don't. But why must Black women suffer first before we're loved correctly?
Black women don't. The dominant society that capitalizes off of Black family destruction deals with a reward and punishment system. If you want to start drama in the Black household, you separate each other. You separate the Black man and the Black woman and the Black child. So if the house is chaotic, you add more chaos. The children, they go to the schools and they tell them one thing. the Black men and women, they go to the job, they hear another thing. And they come back home and everybody's foreign to one another versus family to one another. So the children are dealing with their work day, which is school. So all of their things from their day, you know, if the wife is working and she's dealing with all of those things and the house things, and then if the husband come home from work, he dealing with work. Everybody is in a high stress environment that's foreign to them. So nobody gets a chance to decompress. Nobody gets a chance to debrief any of those things. And all of that puts a strain on how they view family. So again, from that cultural perspective, that suffering before you love existed in a place called the American experiment and this plantation politics. So you had to hide who you were, you had to hide who you are, you couldn't be open, you couldn't do any of those things without fear of reprisal. So you're dealing with reprisal and repression versus being open and being receptive. So distrust and mistrust comes before trust. They all got trust in them, but they ain't the same. So you're distrustful of trust. You're distrustful of advances. And there's a lot of fools out here running around. A lot of black males looking with mayonnaise minds and deceptive broken hearts. So you got a black male in appearance, but his mind is mayonnaise, his heart is scorned, and his antics are childish. Unless they were reared and guided properly. So you have to be his mother, his warden, his probation officer, his psychiatrist, his counselor, and all that. And then you gotta, you still got to deal with you, and you still got to deal with the family. So that sounds like suffrage. That sounds like prison. That sounds like servitude, right? If he's not within his right being, versus if he's in his right being, and all you dealt with is the mayonnaise head, folks. And here comes somebody who ain't got no mayonnaise head. He has to go through fire and brimstone before he can appear right to you, even if he comes right. So he has to pay for the sins and the transgressions of them fools who came before him. And then, if he's found worthy, by the time he's found worthy, I don't know if he wants to participate anymore. I don't know if he wants to participate anymore. If you're worth it in his mind, in his heart, then he'll persevere. But if not, he just converted to the fool religion of the mayonnaise head, because the mayonnaise head ain't got to go through none of the drama. Whoever come in after the mayonnaise head got to go through the drama forever. And so that trauma loop is healed and reconciled and broken. So that suffering before love, you don't have to, black women. You don't have to. You know, your relationship, like I was saying earlier, from the cultural perspective, you don't have to adopt that culture. You don't have to adopt that aspect. That don't have to be your religion. That don't have to be your story. You can change that story. Before God, before your ancestors, whomever you communicate with, you make that solemn vow to yourself with the spirit of discernment, with discipline, whatever the case may be in that regard, and say, okay, this is my black man by design. And I'm willing to forego until this one comes. So by design, in particular. I asked for a wife and I got a wife. I ain't asked for nothing else. So I got what I asked for. And I was looking for other things, but now, fam, that wasn't in the contract. You said you wanted a wife and you got one. Now you got to look at renegotiating terms and all this other stuff. So you have to be as specific as possible with what you want and who you want and what you're willing to, because nothing is for free, right? Luther Vandross said that in the song, "The Best Things in Life Are Free." It was a song, okay? Wrote a song about it like the here to go. But in life, if you want something, you have to be prepared to give up something in order to receive it. Are you in the proper position to receive what you ask for? Are you prepared to do the work necessary to receive what you ask for? Are you at that level within yourself that when it shows up, you don't fight it, you don't cast it to the side, you don't push it away? These are universal questions that exist between both of us. Do we really see each other? Have we ever seen each other? Have we ever been in communication with one another? Have we been taught how to love ourselves and how to love one another? And what does that love look like? So all of these things become important in regards to reaching each other. So neither one of us is suffering. We're reaching for one another. In that movie After Earth with Will Smith and Jaden Smith, the wife was the bridge between the generations. She said, "He's a feeling boy and he's reaching for you. He's a feeling boy and he's reaching for you." Like now it's something. So she becomes the bridge. She's the bridge and the bridge builder. You know, they're like, "Oh, what you bring to the table?" She's the table, the house. She's whatever these things are, but she's also the greatest gift you could have if you know how to receive this gift. And if you don't know, you need to learn how before you're in front of her. Go get some training, some class, some therapy, some something. Get your ass together and don't just be out here placeholding, wrecking, and then be like, "Oh, I'm ready," and you 95 years old. You about to check out in 5 minutes. Then you want to leave grief on the black woman. No. So yeah, we gotta sort of get that thing together because our future generations come from us, and what they inherit is what we leave for them. So if we leave trash for them, they got to inherit trash. You remember the trash you inherited. If you don't care what the next generation gets, then you're a part of the problem.
And I would like to let the audience know again that I am here to ask the questions. I am not even here myself to give the commentary or my opinion because it's not my place to speak for Black men, which is why I have asked the Black man to speak for the Black men because I don't feel like it's a woman's place to tell a Black man what he thinks or how he feels. But it is important for the Black woman to understand what he thinks and how he feels and how he moves and what he needs so that we can change this communication. The only thing I will add to anyone in a situation where they feel like they are suffering is pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. It's a choice, and you have the power of choice. And it's not on that other person to remove you from a situation that you are choosing to be in. No matter what the circumstances are, find your way out because no one deserves to allow themselves to stay and suffer in a situation that they can simply walk away from.
That's right.
Now, I will get into this next question. This is the $1,000,000 question. I've been waiting for this question. I knew it was going to come beyond a reasonable doubt. Why do men cheat instead of being honest with women and seeking women who are okay with you having multiple partners because they exist?
Black men don't cheat. That's the first thing. Black men don't cheat. Okay.
Okay.
Black women, you have to understand that. Black men don't cheat. Black males will stay black males as long as they're in close proximity to black males. Black men are responsible. Black men are accountable. Black men know how to express themselves. Black men know how to be open and honest. Now, You know this guy from the moment you meet him. I don't care what kind of song and dance, top hat, whatever kind of game, whatever these things is, you know him. You're alerted about him. You're alerted about him. He's trying to pretend because the males that he's around, they have sessions about pretending. So these mayonnaise heads in blackface, they pretend with one another. They don't go to women and ask women how to communicate with them. They listen to the TV, the radio, and each other. So they be like, yo, this is what I do. Or they go on the internet nowadays. Let me add that in because the internet, they have a community of men who need to learn how to talk to women, but they listening to men instead of listening to women. So if your desire is to be with a woman, there's nothing a man can tell you except how to deal in your conduct. You do need some rearing and some guidance in that regard. Your conduct, not your relationship, not your relationship to a woman. So the black men who can't be honest is another part of what I'm about to discuss. Some black men have found that black women love a lie better than the truth. They'll accept the truth, but they'll love a lie. What I mean with that? If that man came to you and said he wanted multiple women and he want you to be one of those multiple women, he doesn't know whether or not you're receptive to that. So if you're not, then you're not. But if you are you truly? So that's a decision that you have to decide within yourself. Do you want a man in a monogamous fashion, or do you want a man that's in this polygynous fashion? And if you say polygynous and you see him with these other women, how are you going to feel about that? Now I know some black women that's like, let them deal with his BS. I'm just glad with my little time. When I get my little time, I'm good. I ain't worried about the rest of the time. And historically, in this experiment called America, that has been the reality. So back to the cultural aspect of what that is. If you come up in a culture that allows for polygyny and a situation that helps you accountable for violation, I can see that. But if you don't have that and you just out here just because you heard some jelly beans selling snake oil salesman fool running around here telling you like, yo, back in Africa, son, we was this is what we was doing, son, and you and you want to deal with that. Versus this actually being in you and knowing what the duties and responsibilities are for each of these women that you are involved with. You're involved with them from a lifestyle perspective, not a bed style perspective solely. So if you can handle those responsibilities and understand that there are penalties if you violate on every level, then you would think about it in that kind of way. Versus this other aspect, like, oh, she's my world, he's my world, all this other stuff, yada, yada, yada. You may not want one man. You might want a couple of them. Are you bringing that to the table? You might want a man and a woman. Are you bringing that to the table? So everybody in this equation has to know exactly what they want and exactly who they are in order to properly communicate those things at the outset. So we ain't finding out nothing. You understand what I'm saying? Like we ain't finding out nothing. Like, oh, I thought I wanted to be with you, but I wanted to be with you and your homeboy. Or I wanted to be with you, but your homegirl was eyeing me and she started talking to me on the side. And, next thing I know, I'm interested in her too. don't we have enough destruction in our families based off of family secrets? Again, it's not just now. When you come together with a person, you a black man and she's a black woman, you're bringing your families together, you're bringing your ancestors together, you're bringing all of that energy together. So whomever you're with, it's all of those things. So if your daddy wasn't ish and his daddy wasn't ish and his daddy wasn't ish, 11 times out of 10 you ain't ish either. As you learn how to heal and grow and reconcile from that, you plus them up. They can think now. They can express wherever they are. They can, do the things that they need to do in their timeline, and you doing what you're doing in your timeline. So you're creating ancestral harmony, ancestral redemption based off of what you're doing here right now. So if you're taking all of that into account, are you prepared to deal with whatever you asked for? Like I said previously. So most of the time the answer is no. So the cheat and the lying, the deceiving, the deficit, and the justification. You understand what I'm saying? The justification that comes along with your dirty religion. Well, as a man, stop that. Stop that. Stop starting things off with that shit right there. As a man, you know what I'm saying? All right, you about to say some dumb shit right after. So understand who this guy is, how he moves, how y'all met, where y'all met, what y'all talked about or didn't talk about. All of those things is supposed to be an evaluation. McDonald's pay you $7 an hour, you got to pee in a cup. What are your qualifications for him to be in concert with you, in relationship with you exclusively? What are those? And what are the deal breakers? Does he know that? Or is he just supposed to, read your mind? He should know. He's a grown man. He should know. Okay. Okay. My brother Clyde said it briefs well because it does. It briefs well. Like, meaning, it's out there and it's supposed to be common knowledge, but knowledge ain't so common. And as long as in this kind of era, in this internet era, forget about it. Forget about it. So being clear about who you are and what you want, and that man being clear about who he is and what he wants, if those things are aligned, then you got harmony. If not, there's going to be some treachery, lies, sin, disease, and death.
So, Born, what do you say to the defense that it's in the man's nature to do that?
Do what?
To have more than one partner.
More than one woman?
More than one woman. Yes, let me clarify that. Yes. That was the question.
Are they prepared for that kind of life? So I'll give you an example. I'm not religious, right? I know God is real. I talk to her every day. In the Holy Quran, in the 4th chapter, which is called Al-Nisa, which means the woman, or the women, excuse me. God tells the men, you can have more than one wife, up to 4 wives, and whatever your right hand possess type of situation. This is what's written. At the end of that, one is best if you but knew. I'm from Jersey. I was in my neighborhood. It was the middle of the night. I was at Dunkin' Donuts, and I heard these Muslim men talking to the lady behind the counter. And she grew up Muslim her whole life. I know her whole family. But she's behind the counter. She don't have, her chemo on and nothing. And she just messing with the men. They old men, you understand? So he like, you should think about Islam. She was like, I thought about it. I don't want to think about it no more. Y'all be having all them wives. I ain't trying to be one of them wives, right? So I'm listening to see if this an old wise man or an old fool. So he proceeds to say, well, it's our right as our religion, you know, to have these wives, and because it's a man thing. I was like, I don't know what toilet water drunk that got you talking this foolishness. I said, I wish a man would have been talking to my mother like that and still have his chin from my mama. Okay, not me, from my mama. So I'm listening, and I'm like, this is funny. So I go and order after they done, and I said, sister, I apologize. She's like, for what? I was like, for them fools. I said, this was revealed at a time where the Muslims were going to battle and they would come home with casualties. So if they already went, and say it was 500 of them fighting 1,000 or 2,000 on the other side, you're going to fight the battle, but you're going to lose the war, so to speak. So the families were left without provisions. Many of them were living in the streets. This is why it was revealed. If you could do it, you could take in another family, not just a wife. Because if she was a wife, 9 times out of 10, she had a family. If you could provide for that family, this was lawful. So this is why it was revealed. It wasn't revealed on no ego and none of this foolishness where they painting this BS about this man and it's in his nature and all this other stuff. These things are contrived. If you could provide for those families, then it was incumbent upon you. Back to culture. This thing has to be approved. This thing has to be agreed upon. You can't just bring some people into your house or whatever. Things are perverse nowadays. So these fools that are running around, they are causing, fitna and bringing shame onto honorable cultures that were good. So if you were able to do that, this is what it was. And this is how I explained it to her. I said, I apologize for this poor articulation for someone who would be outwardly looked at as a wise elder. And said, you know what, I appreciate that. And I said, I remember who you are and I remember who your family is. I know y'all live down the street from the school. Tell your pops I said salam. And that was that. But how many times do you have poor articulation and mayonnaise magic in the head versus what the reality is, and you start dealing with these talking points, right? The manosphere talking points, whatever the stuff that's out there in the street. There's a bunch of that stuff that exists out there in the street, and you can't distinguish or decipher from who's who. You see what I'm saying? So all of these things have a bearing based off of a lack of culture and the disinformation that comes along with that. So that in the man's nature to do this, all this other stuff. People are talking these things they're not living with. If a woman loves you and she wants to be with you and she creates a family with you, that is the greatest gift you could ever have in your life. If you have never had a child or see a child be born or watch that child develop in the gestation period of the womb, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about in that regard. So you don't know what she goes through for you to have a family, for you to be fruitful and multiply, whatever these things that you're talking about. So if you okay with wrecking lives, keep running around with that garbage. But if you're true and sincere about this sort of way of life, again, are you telling this woman when you first meet her, this is what you want? Are you telling this man when you first meet them, this is what you want, this is what you're comfortable with dealing with and doing? Or are you waiting? So we got to understand one or the other.
I don't have the bomb button. You have control of that. I think you should give yourself one. I have a question coming from New York. And the
There you go.
question is, why does body count for women and not men when men cheat on the women with the women that got body counts?
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. Okay, I'm about to take my shoes off and put my sneakers on. Would you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? It does. It does, but the public eye doesn't view them the same. So a lot of these uh, quasi-religious circles that are European-based models that are amalgamated from the original models, they look at that body count. Body count. You know what that denotes? That you
Okay.
ain't dealing with a person. You're dealing with an act. And an act of consummation, which is a marriage in some cultures. Having sex with someone means that now you two are one. Sex changes everything in the relationship. The friends, I was cool, all this other stuff, that stuff that Musical Soul Child was talking about. And, he wanted to go too far with his friend, and now he just wanted his friend back. No, no, no. Y'all decided to cross the line. Now you on the other side of the line. You can't go back to the line no more. You thought it was cool. So that meant that was your intention the entire time. Now you repenting for what you done. So body count does just body count. What are you talking about? Even if no physical children are born, something is born every time you have sex. Something is born. You're giving birth to something. You're wed to something. An idea, whatever the case may be. Your thoughts are your children when you act on them. They're in gestation of your mind, and you can create mental. The thought doesn't come full term. So the thought that you had about this person, y'all had a life together in your head, whatever the case may be, and it got cut short. That was a life, not a body. That was a life that y'all had together. And now y'all are no longer one. Now y'all are going y'all separate ways, and y'all trying to figure out how to get back to yourselves. And the cure for that for a lot of black men is a placeholder in that space. Not taking the time to heal, not taking the time to reconcile, not taking the time to do the things that go along with a loss, the grieving process. You fresh out and you looking for something else to ruin. You looking for something else to ruin. Because you don't think you was the problem. So you saying you want this quote unquote chaste woman, and you chasing the woman that you say you don't want. So this is a crazy dichotomy that exists. You're saying you want this pure woman and this other woman at the same time. You really want this other woman, but you're setting yourself up with this kind of image that you have this other woman. So she good for your image, and this other one good for your ego. So the socialization has to go where black men are teaching black boys and girls in this regard on what these things are, and not hiding sex from them. All of these things, and presenting these things like they taboo. Where all these people come from if ain't nobody having sex? You understand what I'm saying? Where did this black population come from? The stork bought them? Santa? No. We got together and we continue to be fruitful and multiply. So if the goal is to increase your family, to increase your community, increase your nation, all this other stuff we be talking about, why are we putting the emphasis on something as foolish as this? So a woman looked at a certain kind of way if she done had multiple partners and a man ain't, they're held to the same standard overall. It's just one is done publicly in a shame fashion and the other one is done privately in the same fashion. Somebody is harboring these feelings and these negative attitudes towards that because the dude that don't know what he's doing, the women is talking noise about him too. You understand what I'm saying? And the dude that know what he's doing, the women is talking noise about him too. So whatever noise is the loudest, the women and the men on both sides who don't know what they're doing is not being brought to them. They're not even considering them. They don't even know how to approach the situation. A side note to that, really quick, is how the young people are socialized to sex. How they're socialized to sex is how they're socialized to their communication with the opposite sex, with the men and the women. But before they become men and women, they're young girls and young boys. So if they have these thoughts and they can't go to their parents or somebody that is trusted to deal with these thoughts, they're going to go to the internet because that's what they were raised on. We was raised on the television. They're raised on the internet. So the internet is their television. Social media is their television. So they're socialized through media. And the media's goal is to capture your mind, capture your imagination. We go on Facebook all the time. Facebook asks you a question. What's on your mind? Most of the people that they just type whatever, blah, 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 blah. And they don't say, oh, okay, what's on my mind is this. So Facebook is looking for your thoughts. What's on your mind? How are you feeling today? Whatever the case may be, because they're taking that data and they're determining what to show you from the ad space. So if the children are growing up with these phones and they're looking at illicit sex acts on their phones because of their curiosity and they can't come to their parents, the same way we found the magazines and the VHS tapes and all this other stuff, it was hidden in the family, but you got a large family. So these things become learned behavior because they can't learn it from the people that they love. They learn it from the street. They learn it from the internet. They learn it from other people. They learn it from experimentation versus education. And then when they get in school at a certain age, they get a sex education class. And they trying to learn you to the horrors of it, not to the essence of it. So when you out here failing around, fooling around, whatever the case may be, and you out here playing crazy, you have children that are being born. You have sexually transmitted diseases that are being passed around. Sexually transmitted diseases that are passed around, all of these things, because you have not been properly educated from a personal and from a familial and a cultural perspective about sex. You're just supposed to figure it out. So that is another layer that I've seen as a contributing factor to all of these aspects. So if we're not sexually active with one another, or the sexual activity is trash, somebody looking out the door. For one reason or another. Whatever the deficit is not being filled, you're going to find it someplace. If your
And
wife
that's on
can't
both
cook or
sides.
your husband can't cook, you out there eating somewhere. You don't want to eat at home because you're afraid to hurt that person feeling and say, hey, I don't like this food. We should take some cooking classes or something like that, whatever the case may be, something that requires work. So we'd rather hide it and do this other thing versus telling the truth. Back to the other question about the truth. You want the truth? You can't handle the truth. That's what they said in a few good men. Because the thing that one guy had in his mind versus what the other guy's reality was were two different things.
Thank you for that clarification and that understanding and that perspective. And even if you disagree, all perspectives are welcome. And we actually have a caller that would like to come to the stage out of South Carolina, Sonia Lawson. Do you see her?
I don't. You have to give her the StreamYard link.
Oh, okay. One moment, Sonia. She actually wanted to present her question herself.
Okay, right on. Well, let me play something real quick then in the meantime while you get her on.
The painter, brother's letter. I should cut my ear off like Van Gogh. Stop performing at the Klan shows. Watch myself from the audience. Play piano with lit candles. I mean, I'll still perform, but the thrill is gone. I don't feel as strong, maybe cause the wheel is torn. I clutch in a ball cause I'm sick to my gut. Then I brushed off the dust, stood up like I was touched by healing palms. I picked up my shield and 3 rocks as I'm hearing psalms. Know ye not that ye are gods? And I've been blocked by bouncers, overlooked by the announcers. I'm in the stand with the fans, which told me many of my album was like a counselor. They said songs like Then From Now, got them from then to now. Even deja vu, they said the old man was you in a reoccurring nightmare where you kept coming back around. I took a picture with him. Then he showed me a picture of his daughter in a cap and gown. He said he put her through college because your words stood up for knowledge. Said, to be honest, you like a prophet. I said, stop it. He said, what made you right before quarantine take us to Nebula in a rocket? I said, it was just my journey to the planet of gods, our divine intervention. Just a mantra, I said, for the monsters in my head. Kept reliving, but we true and living. Like 3 supermen then, he said, who you kidding? That was a beautiful listening. Clan came on and music was hitting. They did 4th chamber while I talked to strangers about his divorce and child support papers. Got to restrain in court for his anger. On the cross cause of haters. As Ghost finish up with the black suede while it dawned. They look around, I'm not armed. They search backstage and I'm gone. Much finish the set, play the next song. Play the next. Nobody would remember. He hardly was a member. But the gods was his avengers. With the bars, always an inventor. From kindergarten to jobs at the center. From the mini-mart, parking cars for the winter. Kept a penny jar. What's the odds I get injured? Dreams of a football star was hindered. My lovers died, my brother's demise. My first son arrived in September. Virgo. No more pop locking like a turbo. Stopping in Stockton in my circles. Met Anessa, love was eternal. Ancestors, embrace her. Soared in my dreams like Jacob. Wrestle with the devils before I wake up. Or was that an angel in flames who renamed you? Kill a priest to join the Wu-Tang school. Say to them, oh son of man, now children go in the land. Now I'm on send them 5 deadly venoms.
Freak out, yo!
Yeah, ma. Ma, say what up.
Huh?
Say what up.
So what?
Say what's up. Ma, you look like grandma.
Oh, you looking at me now?
All right. We're back. And Miss Sonia is with us in the building. So let me add her to the stage real quick. How you doing, ma'am?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm getting through this thing right here, okay?
You doing good. You ain't sweating yet, so you doing good.
Uh,
So, Miss Sonia, what is your question this evening for Black men?
Okay, so you answered some of the ones that I had, but um, so as a black man, what has shaped you, or what experiences have you had that shaped you into the man that you are today?
my mother and my father. That was the first place. My family, my siblings, my aunts and my uncles. That family life is a great catalyst that shaped me and molded me from my initiatory aspects of early life. I decided who I wanted to be. I accepted my mission to help Black people from my family, not from a book, not from somebody who got uh, killed by the police or whatever the case may be. It was life, it was family, it was those missions already. Like there was like a preset, and my mother recognized that very young, and she prepared me for it. She gave me books from a child. She gave me language from a child, and she gave me problem solving techniques that I learned through her work and my father's work in the community, helping people get off drugs and out of prostitution and all these sorts of things that were happening. So my family's mission, my mother and father, gave me that. And then later on in life, when I, started my own family, it was my children, my sons, my daughter. Becoming a father was another initiation. So these are two large catalysts for me that gave me, sort of that way and the pathway to your question in becoming who I am today. Those that foundation and then these life decisions right there.
So my other question is, what does a healthy relationship look like to you?
It's something that has to be discussed, right? So the
Hmm.
first person you have to discuss what a healthy relationship looks like with is you. So your idea of healthy and finding someone as close, if not identical to you, what ideal. Because relate means to another after self. Self is first, and then in relation to another. So someone in proximity. So for me, that looks like someone in my life that relates to, we have a shared vision of what a healthy relationship looks like, and we're prepared to do the action steps together for that to continue because that two becoming one is something. As I was saying earlier, when you get together with somebody, you don't just get together with them. You get together with their families, you get together with their ancestors, you get together with all of that all together. That's sum total of experience. And there are two kingdoms basically coming together to increase and empower and increase in a future for these two nations that are coming together.
I think he need to hit that bum button. So,
Uh,
okay, I have one more question for you.
yes, ma'am.
So, in what ways, as a black man, do you like to be supported? Whether it's by family, someone you're in a relationship with, friends, how do you feel? Well, what makes you feel good in the way that when people show up for you? So, how do you like to be supported?
I get Me personally, I get my support through supporting others. So I put that energy out. I support others in their goals, aims, and objectives, and then I ask, my ancestors, and I ask the Most High to guide me to those people in regards to what my goals, aims, and objectives are. So I allow divine to align me or put me in the path with the people and the places that I need to go in order to deal with that. And I trust that. It might take longer because these kind of things could be instantaneous. But what are the instantaneous results? They come in quick and they leave quicker. So in a support round, my support round comes from, again, my family realm in that kind of way. So I appreciate when my ancestors show up for me. I appreciate when God shows up for me. I appreciate those things through whatever vehicles or models that they choose to utilize to bless me with at that time. It might be a hard lesson. I might have been bugging. You understand what I'm saying? And I get one of those checkups from the neck up with that punch in the chin, and I'd be like, oh, all right, I was out here bugging. That karma comes swift. You see what I'm saying? So I appreciate the karma and the correction, like I appreciate the blessing and the increase. So showing up in that way is an indication in that regard. So that's what I'm looking for in regards to support because, you know, a man or a woman can tell you, I'm gonna be there, and something can happen, and they're not there. But God did. But my ancestors did. You understand what I'm saying? So I can put that trust in them and trust the process of it, and then hear whatever the explanation. If I don't get none, either way it goes, anything can happen. You can't put that on somebody and then hold them in a judgment sort of space without knowing whatever the details is. Because you might be harboring something in your heart or your mind unnecessarily and seeking indictment towards that person based off of something that was beyond their control. And it be like that. It's like that with family situations and stuff. It's folks that ain't talked in years because of something that they never said to the other person. They got offended by something that happened or whatever, some kind of stuff, and they'll keep messing. They'll be telling everybody in the family except that person, and nobody in the family is like, "Hey, fam, why don't you tell them? Don't call me. Call them. Want me to set up a meeting? Want me to be a mediator? Whatever the case may be, and whatever that is that they harboring and holding on to, they'd rather hold on to that than hold on to the person. And then when they pass away, now you at the funeral, boo-hooing, crying, snotting, oh Lord, Lordy, Lord, oh Lordy, Lordy, Lord. When you could have corrected it in life. You could have corrected it in life. Why they still had life for y'all to correct it together. Unless it was something illegal, immoral, or something, there's nothing two people can't get over if they're willing to work it out. And most of the time, that foundation comes from them being able to be heard and seen by one another.
So, Born, in saying that, then that just reinforces again the need of the communication and especially healthy interaction between the two. Because if these are the basis of why these relationships can't even sit at the table together, then actually trying to create a family together is going to make it more difficult. You may dabble into it, but it's not going to actually be able to stay if that communication is not there. And it's not a one-sided thing. It's not a gendered issue. This is something that is a self thing that needs to be corrected internally before you can actually try to exchange that or share that externally.
I remember MC Breed, rest in peace. Back in the day, he had a song. It was called "Ain't No Future in You Frontin'." So the person who shows up for the interview for the job ain't the same person that's gonna work there. They come with their Sunday best for the interview and they proper diction for whatever time that is, and they get the job that they applied for, that they submitted their resume, that they did the background check, if they had to give up some pee or some blood, or they had to get a shot, whatever they needed to do to get in that position. Then they get in that position and they late. And then they got excuses. They're not up to snuff with their performance. The performance that they initially were putting on, the zeal that they got the job now. We treat our relationships the same way because we hear stuff, oh, you got to fake it till you make it. You just got to get your foot in the door and all this other stuff. And this is what we bring to our relationships. This is what we relate to one another as, that same kind of way. We actually give more to the job than we actually do to our relationship. We ain't filling out relationship applications. Like what it costs to get next to you. Like, oh, this background check is $100. They'll pay that for the job. But for the relationship, they're like, oh man, she ain't text me back, man. Forget it. I guess it's a wrap. You understand what I'm saying? So we'll do all of this in proximity for things outside versus things inside. This is somebody you want to walk with you for the rest of your life. It's supposed to be that easy? No. It's going to take work. You've lived your life your whole life. They lived their life their whole life. Y'all are coming together as one on whatever level, for a friend, whatever the case may be. They online every day looking for their foes. They're out there looking for who's hating on them, not who love them, not who protect them, not who pray for them, not for who hold them down or hold them up. They're looking for the people who disagree, who got the dissenting views. They can't wait for that. They got all the smoke for them. But you're neglecting the people who are right in front of you that love you in that regard. So relate to one another. There has to be some requirement. Would you hire you for this position that you're looking for? What are your expected qualifications? What are your desired qualifications? What are your requirements? How much experience? Can we call your previous employer? All of this stuff that's on this application, we don't ask none of these questions. We just be like, oh, she look good. Oh, he look good. Oh, he cool. Oh, she cool. Oh, I like that car, or whatever the case may be. And we get together under false pretenses for a real relationship of any kind. So ask them to read out loud. See if they can actually read out loud. You understand what I'm saying? Read me this sentence. You understand? Then you got to decide whether or not you want to deal with that for the rest of your life. How are they with people? If y'all somewhere in the public setting, how do they treat the wait staff? How do they treat people when y'all interacting? These are all things and indicators that you might have a question about that you can see demonstrated. Some of these interviews, you got to take a test. Do they have to take a test to get with you? Do they have to write an essay? You got to write an essay to get in colleges, most of the colleges. There are requirements for you to be admitted into their societies. What are the requirements for you to get in your societies? What has your family structure set up from a cultural perspective that somebody who is looking to be a part of your family, not just be with you, are they acceptable to your family? Are they going to bring further honor to your family and your family traditions, or dishonor? So are we thinking critically about these things? Or are we thinking finite in the moment about these things and just say, what Rock said to Eleanor, well, I ain't worked that out yet.
I appreciate the acknowledging Jules. I definitely did not want this to be a male bashing or, disrespect or downplaying of men. I really wanted to create a space where questions actually could be asked and answered, not from a place of emotion, but again, from a place of intellect where conversation and thought can actually come together and ease some thoughts, bring understanding, and not tear down Black men, because that's not my goal. My goal is to, again, create that space to where the conversations can be had that we actually need to make a change within our community with interaction and communication. And here's a question I find interesting. I was asked, what do Black men want Black women to know about them?
We got feelings like y'all got feelings, and we be in them like y'all be in them. We be in them. Okay, we got feelings. We're not blessed by God to have that cycle that comes every month. But we're blessed by God to have that cycle that come every day within our mind. We have a self-check system within ourselves. Am I doing enough? Am I who I'm supposed to be? Am I at where I want to be at? What am I going to do about it? Am I measuring up to these expectations? these external and internal expectations. All of these things are all factors on how a black man presents. So if he got a cold switch at work because he done got one of those jobs where he can't be himself, but he got to take care of his family, he got to pretend all day. He can't come home and pretend too. So those worlds have to be one kind of way where the home life that he is providing to some degree reflects the harmony to give him enough strength and motivation to go deal with the hell of the world. So he know before he get to that house door, leave that stuff from outside. Take your damn shoes off before you come up in here. Get a moment, get yourself together, and then come to this woman that you love clean. Don't come to her dirty and then be mad because you done put some dirt on her. Now y'all into it. We ain't even getting the door. Make time in that moment to prepare your mind and your imagination for your house. This is heaven. Don't bring the hell from outside it. Make time for your children. Everybody has a requirement for you, of you. They want some of that time. Schedule time for yourself and all of these things that you need to do for yourself. Everybody should be aware of where everybody is so they know how to deal with one another in the most righteous manner and how to eliminate a lot of the headaches that we just have, that we just internalize and we just keep. And then you're only going to keep it for so long. And then when you flip, now everybody looking at you like you're crazy. So.
Thank you for that, Born. Again, the jewels. Those are jewels. Those are,
I ain't no uncle.
Those are jewels. You ain't gonna make you up with them jewels.
Yeah, and for me stand for eunuch.
Oh Lord,
we'll talk about that.
Okay.
We'll talk about that another day. So I ain't nobody.
I take that
nobody
back.
on. We got enough of those mayonnaise-minded folks running around here, mentally and emotionally and spiritually castrated. Huh?
We will keep it in jewels. Understood. So it
Ms.
looks
Sonia,
like
did you have another question? Are you good?
Oh, go ahead, Sonia.
Oh no, that's you. I'm good on the question.
All right.
I'm just taking all this in.
We have a question in the chat that asks us to please speak full context on why did God allow 4 wives.
I think I answered it, and I think she said, "Oh, thank you."
Okay.
Because that's why I used the story as an analogy, like my own personal experience with that. So this is how important culture is. If you are a purveyor and a preserver of a culture, you're also an ambassador of a culture. So either you're a good ambassador or a bad ambassador. If you don't have no culture, then you should be looking for somebody who ain't got no culture either. There's that term, great minds think alike. Alike attract, and with the unlike repel type of situation. You can't be saying, "Oh, okay, I want my children to be vegan," and the person you with eat pork. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you met them, they was fine eating pork, but you a vegan, so y'all live y'all life separate, and now the children come, and she want to give them pork, and you want to give them, grass from outside. You understand what I'm saying? So you better go find you somebody that eat grass too. So that don't have to be an issue. Your spiritual component, whatever your spiritual compass, in that regard, find somebody who has that same spiritual compass. So y'all alike in order for y'all to be alike. You be like, "Oh, I'm a Muslim and she a Christian," and it's all good until you add on to life. She want to go to church, you want to go to the mosque. She ain't going to the mosque and you ain't going to the church. How y'all gonna be together? Someone's spiritual pathway is a major contributing factor to their way of life. So if you met her and y'all got together and now y'all in a relationship, you should be seeking to understand how they think based off of their cultural value system and vice versa. Now, if you saying one thing and doing another thing, they're gonna find that out too. That's gonna be another religion you got. They have to figure out how to deal with that. So y'all coming together and asking these questions of one another in this kind of way, you're asking for clarity. You're asking for understanding. You're not asking to berate. Because that's the other reason why people ask questions. They ask questions so they can berate you and disrespect you and dishonor you and try to disagree with you. You know, that's how raisins get in the potato salad, unless you like raisins in your potato salad.
I think I'll pass on the raisins and the potato salad.
Yeah.
Born, I do want to let you know that I appreciate you for being here and being willing to go there. Again, this episode was not about blame. It was about truth, accountability, healing, and understanding. And to the women and men listening, your questions are valid, and your boundaries are valid, and your peace is valid. And to men listening, your healing matters, but so does your responsibility. And I will still transfer that to women as well. When we're coming together in these situations and these conversations, we can't just, look at the thorn in the eye that's across from us when that actually is a mirror, and only look outside their back doors, but not come with our authentic selves and with our accountability and our responsibility, and the understanding that what we do to one, actually we do to our, what we do to someone else, we do to ourselves. So we have got to get back to that communal mind frame of this is about us. It's not about gender. It's not about what black men did to women and what black women did to men. All right, we have problem identified. It is time to start problem solving. We have got to get out of the mud. We are boots in the ground, in the mud, in quicksand at this point. The climate that is happening in our society today no longer allows us to sit still and grunt and moan and groan about what we did to each other. We are both victims of the same circumstance. We are victims of the same systems, the same oppression from the same people. The power is in numbers. The power is in unity. And again, you cannot have community without communication and unity. So this is a call for us to stop. Shut the hell up with the you did. Take that thumb and let it be where it needs to be as you're pointing, and fix you so that we can fix us. Because yes, we are individuals, but we are part of the whole. And again, we are going to need each other. We already do, but we haven't been put in a situation to really understand what that looks like. And what we don't need, if a disaster or when the disaster comes, for one of us to knock on a door and we look at someone that looks like us and say no. Because someone that looked like you cheated on me. Because someone that looked like you didn't measure up to be who they were. That's not enough. We have got to come back together, and that unification comes in us interacting and communicating in much healthier fashions. Stop the blame. This is not a gender thing. It's not a he thing. It's not a her thing. It's an us thing. And if we continue to look like that and move like that, the other cultures that we like to look up to, that's what they have. They protect their own. They stand up for their own, and they handle their issues internally. And we have got to get to that.
Yeah. What she said. Okay.
And I appreciate your honesty. I know that some things that were said were uncomfortable. The truth can be uncomfortable. It is what it is. There's no nice way to tell you something that you don't want to hear. There's no nice way to say things to someone that they don't want to hear. And it might even hurt you to say it, but it's just how we get better. We are resilient people. We are people that can continue to go through. I don't like to say that we're strong. That's a survival method. It's a survival mechanism. No, we can do, we can build, we can grow. But we have got to change our interaction. I cannot say that enough. Our communication interaction is trash.
Right.
And we've got to be able to listen You speak, I listen, I speak, you listen, dialogue. All these things come into play. Don't be offended by what I say. Let me finish. Hear me out before you want to react. If you're
Yes.
listening with the intent to understand and not respond, then you will be able to have conversations that are uncomfortable, agree to disagree, and still move in love.
That's what I'm talking about. Where that bomb at? It's right here somewhere. Y'all got
That's
any
what
more questions? I don't want to leave nothing, on the table. Like, you know what? I should have asked about. But I ain't
Sonya, did
answering no more questions now. Miss Sonya, you good?
I'm good.
I want to thank you also for coming on. And it was like, all right, I'm gonna ask him this question to his face. Okay,
Thank y'all for
to
having
his face. You know,
me.
and Miss Chanel, I love you in real life and on the internet. So I'm like, if somebody gonna be asking me these questions, they gotta be from somebody I care about. Cause I don't want to just be sitting around folks and they'll be asking me questions. I'll be asking the questions. So yeah. So.
you well, I'm
And,
gonna
and
make
I honestly thought it was going to be a little more difficult than what it was. You see what I'm saying? So I'm glad, we got the honey questions versus, the vitriol internet craziness that's out here.
and I
We
think
got to
that's what
kind of figure what we want for ourselves first and what we want for our future. What do you want your children walking around with the same mind that you had to? You want them having to figure out stuff and experiment and fail and even with their own life preset challenges? Or do you want to create something better for them? My goal in this life is to think for my future generations so that they think about this time, that they don't even think about this time. They got to read about it. There's got to be some subject in history class. They don't have to experience it. They don't have to know it directly or indirectly. It'd be something that they told about, like one of them stories, like what's a cell phone? You understand what I'm saying? Like, what's a cell phone? Like, that happened? No, no way. Did people let that happen? No way. You had to wear masks. What's a COVID? So all of these things in regards to what it is, in regards to the world that we want to create in the future that's righteous, black families, black men, black women, black children deserve to grow up in a society where they can grow up, where they can be healthy, where they're not no predators and no snakes and no buffoons and all of this madness that's going on right now, this cycle that's coming to an end. And we're preparing for the transition and the shift back to who we truly are. Black men and black women and black children have never even allowed to be themselves. All of the attention is garnered to these other things. If the TV ain't telling them, the internet ain't telling them, all of these things that created this content creation situation that's happening right now is everything is content. Nothing is real. And then you add in the artificial intelligence aspect of it, that's what it's replicating. It's replicating these things. So if we aren't ahead of that and considering long-term sustainability of righteous black family building, righteous black friendship building, all of these things, we'll continue to be working on this trauma and we'll look up and it'll be 100 years from now. And all of the things that we wanted to do for our futures, people will still be thinking about or talking about what we finna do. So,
and I would like to give a thank you and a shout out to the men that were in attendance that did not get offended, that listened again, and took what they felt they attached to and left what didn't, you know, without
yeah.
getting upset or bent out of shape or getting disrespectful, just being present. And I want to give a shout out to the women because the questions that I got, I was surprised by. I thought I was going to get a lot more, reality TV type questions,
Right.
more of the baiting questions. And no, we got beautiful questions. And I even had some women that said, I don't have questions for men right now because I'm still working on me. That's a beautiful thing. That's, because they might not be in a place right now where they feel like they can ask the right question, or they're so focused on themselves first that they're not even ready to have that conversation because they got to heal what they got going on. So this to me is indicative that we are doing the work. We are working on our healing, that, it's a representation of who we are as a people and how we get through, how we move through. And that a lot of us are looking for the healthier versions. We are acknowledging our part. We are acknowledging how we show up in our own experiences, what we allow, what we tolerate. And we are learning again that power of control that we have when it comes to our decisions, our environments, and our interactions, who we allow in our lives, our children's lives, our work, like period. Everything actually has a place for us to make a decision. So when we look at judgment, you really can't make a decision without a judgment, so I don't really go too much into let's not judge, but I'm not saying come down to yourself, give yourself grace, but do understand that you show up for you first every day, always. And when everything else goes away, you're going to be standing there with you and whoever your higher power is. But we have got to continue to do the work. And for those of us that are a little bit ahead, reach back. I'm not saying you can bring the horse to the water or make them drink it, but at least point them in a direction. And you just never know. One day they might get bored and go there.
Right.
But the positivity has to be shown. We have to show the other side we have to show the truth of who we are as the majority. We have to show how we really show up for each other and represent each other, not what's being perpetrated to us through media.
Right.
And with that, again, understand that the truth can be uncomfortable, but it can also be freeing. And we appreciate you again. Undo the Knowledge Radio, Self Meet Self Podcast, Knowledge Born Allah, Chanel Johnson, and have a great evening.
Peace.
Pain make the black fathers chain smoke. It starts to rain in the park, children playing on the swings. Marvin Gaye standing in his raincoat. Do you see demons in the flames? World made them go crazy till he seen the babies with the wings of an angel. They can't grow, it's painful. First off, rest in peace to Takeoff. His real name Kirchnick, Kyrie Ball. At the same time with Kanye, then Kyrie got involved. Oh wow, Kirchnick, Kyrie and Kanye. Guess that's the modern day KKK. Ancestors were slaves, now we America's plagues. Be aware and afraid. From Hebrews to Negroes, I heard the sequels fire and brimstone. Cause they put the messiahs on Skid Row. We were the providers that lift stones. We had empires with big thrones. We were never pre-owned, now we unknown. When I write I can see home. Before they put our seeds in the twilight zone. The enemies with the white tone. That gave us BET and EBT. R.I.P. to Nate Dogg and Easy E. Tupac Shakur and B.I.G. Shots for you all, and one more for Shock G. They on the ships as Anunnakis. When I spit, they transform through my body. They call it the gift of my hands when man first saw astronomy. Call me Gandhi or Godly from Mali. Spread love like I'm on Molly, but I'm as strong as Brawley or Broccoli. They call me the Mahdi. The truth is clear as Saki. I'm headed through the spheres. The proof is here. The suits I wear is probably for the star seas. I'm the tsunami. Split to both sides when I part seas like Moses. I wrote this is God disease. Hashtag, when did Kanye start talking like he's Razzcast? Who would've thought it? But we support it. Knowledge drop like a leaky faucet. Take ignorance out like a trash bag. Say to babies, we in the land where they made a graven lady. The great horde that makes war and takes your safety. Satan is necromancers. Question God, the devil answers. Alchemists with bars, a metal handler. Or sit on the throne with heavy antlers. The golden deer, the chosen steer. It's more than rap in the booth, I'm a channeler. I sense rejection, isolation, and fear. And abandonment, our planet hit. Candles lit for a year. Save the babies. Stress, loss of control, death. death. This is Hades, bodies going up the pole. They feel lost in the need to belonging. I see the performance. Let's save our seeds till the morning and place our greed in the coffin. You can actually see what I'm talking. I got the tolerance of Solomon on my throne of knowledge in the outer realms. I see it like a film or a hologram. I see our babies going crazy. Infants codependent with no opinions that's so offensive. No one to help them or show them business. So they are co-defendant in his prisons. But with the math, I'm the master of the solar system. I came in the craft to expose religion, but I'm good friends and good faith with the Jehovah Witness. And so with Christians. In Islam, I sit calm as I deal with the outer limits. I switch palms, I'm the old magician. Sleight of hand when I'm writing jams. My style is hitting algorithms, balanced wisdom. The salad's healing, trauma from the mama, drama. I had rhymes ready to carry the summer, but I was never ready for the news. I had to bury my mother. I told my Aunt Cassie and Aunt Carrie I love her. Don't worry, no suffer. Fish and curry for supper. She's my Mary as I sit with the brothers. Maybe my last meal, Judas, came as a covert, narcissist, arguments over if I had a deal. Bag of pills, 50 pieces of silver, I grab a steel. This getting real, this giving chills. I written this will, understanding anxiety through a child's eye. Grew up on the wild side, expecting a storm, mad clouds in the sky. Saved the children, obeyed the healing. They played victim, became the villain. God favors Abel's offering because of jealousy came with killing. In the 60s, we were proud of blackness. None of black queens were child captive. Churches Alice to practice. Our attitudes are maladaptive. Our children play in the day, but at night the owls are active. Police proud with the captain. Big brother watches through clouds for our taxes. We stand on mounds looking up, but can't see them like the meerkats. In fear that they looking down on our actions. Post-traumatic stress disorders. The IRS at our door cuz they took the law from us. They plan to build a superhighway to try to escape and get arrested at the borders. Grandmothers pray, making a mess at the altar. It's like the old days, hair braids, like the chicken necks, make an offer. Pray till it rains, felt a hurricane over Mississippi till the whole South flood with waters. We personalized, we hurt inside. We never arrived, we first tried. 432 Hertz vibes. He must be doing the devil's work. This is Mr. Universe live. West is Yam, the East is Codeine, teaming in South. Let me even this out. They came from the North, which is smoke, painted on skulls. The land of Canaan of old, trading and enslaving the gold. Required by force, wanted resources from tribes on a horse. Uninhabited plots, that's why the unexplained gathered in crops. The whole universe is inside of an astronaut. They say Killer Priest sounds like when Prince first worked with Sheila E. When Michael Jackson first put on his glove. When the first disco balls lit up a club. When Bob Marley lit up his bud. Or Hear the Key by Stevie Wonder. Or Hear My CD Mother. Save the babies.